Despite decades of effort, civil rights has reached an impasse with respect to integration. In the 1960s, the civil rights movement successfully demanded desegregation in its first half. By the mid-1960s, however, the focus of the movement shifted to integration, and with it came challenges that proved insurmountable. It's no mystery that integration efforts have been unfruitful because many of the civil rights issues of the late 1960s are the very ones that confound us today. The movement of the 1960s acted as effectively as it could. The blame for integration's failure lies with the Supreme Court, not with the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement's nonviolent first half is almost universally famed as a defining moment in American history. That was a movement which managed to bring about desegregation while maintaining a peaceful image. As the movement progressed, however, so too did the intensity of its protest. Whether in Detroit or Newark, the civil rights movement's second half took on a more militant edge. This was necessary to energize the push toward integration, though, and although its violence is irredeemable, the passion of these volatile protests was founded on justifiable grounds. Given the conditions of the late 1960s, there's not much more the movement could have done to better broadcast its desire for integration. As such, the movement is not responsible for the current state of affairs with regard to the remnants of de facto segregation. Rather, the Supreme Court made the movement's push for integration just as it was gaining momentum. The court curbed the process of integration. This is especially evident in the case of school segregation. Although there are a number of cases from the 1970s court that propagated the segregation of schools, Keys v. School District No. 1 is among the worst. It created a situation in which it was necessary to prove discriminatory intent as well as impact in order to bring a winning case against a school district. This requirement, however, was incredibly difficult to fulfill in school districts in the de facto segregating regions of the North. It's important to remember that the Supreme Court occupies a unique position in the three branches of government. It is the only branch designed to be almost completely insulated from the politics of the other two, and therefore is expected to stand as a barrier against majority reign. The court turned its back on this responsibility in the 1970s. As such, integration is in the sorry state of affairs it is today. As support for civil rights seems to expand in recent years, so too does the potential for integration to proceed. The Supreme Court's treatment of civil rights cases, however, will be the determining factor as to whether or not the struggles of the movement were in vain. As the court turned its back on the movement in the 1970s, it must now re-embrace its position as minority protector in order to regain its prestige.